says we're live. Says we're live. Awesome possum. Grand day, grand evening, grand rising. Whenever you happen to be watching this, welcome, welcome, welcome to the week 4 of the Inner Creator Coaching walkthrough. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you. My name is Anjulique, also known as Anjulique the Artist. And if this is your first time, this first video that you happen to come across, this is session 4. So we're pretty much through it. It's a 6-week session process. And if you haven't seen the other sessions, I invite you to go back. But if you're just kind of here for the stories and to see what this content about building personal practice is about, then stick around, watch it. And if it catches your interest, the whole process of it, connecting to your inner creator, I would suggest starting with week 1. Okay, so again, my name is Anjulique, also known as Anjulique the Artist. I'm a spiritual life coach, a youth mental wellness advocate, and this process for connecting with the inner creator was a journey that I found myself going through. There was a time when I was not Anjulique the Artist, the coach, the youth mental wellness advocate. I was simply Anjulique doing her best to survive. Survive in relationships, survive in work, survive just having a purpose for my life. And we have a tendency as humans to believe that our survival is dependent on external circumstances and situations and people, relationships. How often have you found yourself at the mercy of a job or a person or a situation? That was definitely my story. And I realized that I was surviving at the bare minimum because that's what I was expecting people to give me. That's what I was expecting from my external circumstances. And as I began my self-development journey, as I began, and I'm going to talk about this more as we talk about personal practice, but as I began to tune into the tools and the mindset shifts and the different perspectives and the opening of my paradigms, as I began to explore these things, I tapped into my inner creative power. And I don't just mean artistic creative power, I mean the ability to create my life, the ability to create my experiences, the ability to create connections with people who are supportive and hold me accountable and who are uplifting and encouraging. The ability to create a life that I desired to live, that had purpose for me. And I know there are plenty of people out here in the world who are seeking to create a life of authenticity, create a life of prosperity, create a life of freedom. And they get stuck in the blame, shame, and the guilt because we're told so often that being mindful of ourselves and our needs and our standards and wanting things to be better for ourselves is selfish. I'm here to tell you that if you are not making life better for yourself, or if you're depending on other circumstances outside of you to make your life better or to make you feel better, you're going to keep turning your wheels over and over and over. And I had to learn that for myself. And I developed this inner creator coaching process to support you with creating your own journey, with releasing your own blame, shame, and guilt so that you can create an authentic life. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what personal practices you should have that work the best for you. I'm sharing my own experience. That's what this space is for. And when you book me, we can discover what is best for you. So this past few weeks, we were talking about the first week, you're created connected. This is inner creator coaching, and it's to help connect you to your inner creator. But right off the bat, I'm letting you know you're already connected. And it's about recognizing that connection. So we talked about week 1, recognizing that connection and understanding that we are already connected to the inner creator, to the source, to God, Buddha, Allah, Krishna, whatever you want to call the source of the universe, the source of life, the source of energy that created all the other things. You're connected to that. That lives within you. And then week 2, we talked about what separation are we imagining? We go through life and we are born knowing that we're created, connected. We're born knowing that we are a spirit having a human experience. But then all of these different things start happening and we begin to imagine that, again, those things are more significant than the relationship that we have with the Creator within ourselves. And we start to separate. We start to imagine that we're separate from that power. And guess what? It's all just imagination. Because you can't be disconnected. You cannot be not of the Creator. If you exist, if everything exists in this life is of the Creator, then there is no separation. And we explored that. And then last week, we discussed creating a clear connection through release, identifying what attachments we were getting distracted by, the imagination that we were creating, the separation that we were creating through our imagination because we had attachments to other things outside of ourselves. Week 3, we talked about releasing. We talked about wiping the windshield clean so we could see where we were going and not have to keep looking around and looking to the side out the window. You feel me? Just really cleaning off our lenses so we can say, I have a clear path. I have a clear connection. I have a clear understanding because I released these attachments. And this week, we're going to talk about strengthening the connection through personal practice. Because last week I talked about how when we release, it creates a void, it creates space. And unless we fill that with the new thing, with the new practice, with the new idea, mindset that we want, we'll keep filling it in with the old things because that's what we know. So now we're going to strengthen our connection after we have released through building personal practice that aligns with the connection that we want to have with the life that we want to create. But before we go any further, when you book me for a personal session or if you decide to join the Inner Creator group, we're going to be in a safe space, a confidential space. I am a certified professional life coach. I operate on a code of ethics. And those ethics include holding your business, your stories, your vulnerability confidential. If you would like to share your story, your experience with other people, that is fully up to you. That is fully your right. It's your life. It's your experience. However, on my end, I will be keeping that confidential in order to honor the space that we share together. Because it is an opportunity for you to be real and raw and authentic. Because that's the only way that we're going to make progress. That's the only way we're going to make progress is if we're real and authentic and we hold ourselves accountable for what's really, really going on. And one of the ways that I enjoy doing that most is through a sustained personal practice. As I was mentioning, one of the most transformational things that I picked up from learning and studying personal development was putting together a personal practice that works for me, that aligns with me, that makes sense to me. And we're going to be going through some things that I like to do, and some things that I've tried, and some things that I've heard of. And again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm simply here to offer you tools, and you can pick up what works for you and use your discernment to release what doesn't. Okay? And the reason that personal practice is so important is because when we release something from our lives, from our minds, from our energy, it creates a void. And unless we fill that void with something new, we will draw back into the same habits, thoughts, energy cycles. Because as humans, we default to what's familiar when nothing else is presented to us. When nothing else seems available, when we don't know, we go to what we know. The subconscious mind and the body hold memories and patterns that we must reprogram if we want to create different results in our lives. And we have to do that with new patterns, with new informations, if we desire a true transformation. This is where intention and consistency, say consistency, consistency, are crucial with your new alignment practices. I was actually just on a live stream with Raymel Bentley, and he was discussing how he went to the repast for a friend of his, and people were like, how are you so positive and so light and so able to be at peace and find joy? And he's like, it's not that I'm always positive or that I'm always happy. It's that I am in this work. I have an understanding. And what came forward for me was being consistent in the practice is more important than always being positive. You know how they say the life, the heartbeat, the heart rate, there's ups and the downs, and the ups and the downs, and some it's a little up, some it's a big up, some a big down. And that's how life is. And that if it's a flat line, then that means you're dead. It's the same thing with personal practice. It's the same, it's the same thing just with living life and emotions in general. And when you have personal practice, it allows you to, and I'm not saying this is medically accurately aligned, but stick with me. It allows you to be more mindful of your higher moments and to be in more spaces of gratitude, in more spaces of joy, in more spaces of peace. Yes, there is still sadness. Yes, there is still frustration and anger and envy and some of those lower vibrational frequencies. But when you have personal practice, it allows you to go back up smoother and more efficiently. I'm not going to say quicker. Even though I have found for myself that when I go through my dark moments, when I have those heavy times, I do process them more quickly than I did without. Because it used to take me months, y'all, months to process my heavy feelings. But as I went through my personal development journey and I started picking up practices and using these tools on a consistent basis, my time frame for processing those experiences shortened to days, hours, moments. And it's a beautiful place to be in. So I'm not going to hold y'all too long. We got some things to go through. So personal practice. What does that even mean? What am I talking about? Like, you keep saying personal practice. What does that mean? For me, personal practice is a set of tools that you can use to be aware of yourself, to notice what's triggering you, and to pull you and your mindset, your thoughts, into the direction that you want to be. For instance, journaling, singing, dancing, walking outside just to get some sunshine, some fresh air, be with nature, walking barefoot in the grass, sunbathing, prayer, meditation, yoga, running, communing with supportive community. All of these things are personal practice. All of these things have the ability to elevate your frequency and release what is not serving you, and help you to acknowledge and be aware of the things, the situations, the moments, the people that are triggering you. Something else I like to do, it's kind of like journaling, is audio notes. And I wanted to share this story because I just had this moment this morning. And this is how important personal practice is, y'all. It really helps to elevate your life. So yesterday, Carrie and Tina Wolf did a Facebook Live, or just a live in general. And Tina Wolf is a reader, like a card reader, a coach, a relationship coach, spiritual coach. And she did a card reading at the end for like people watching that wanted to be read. And I was like, yeah, of course. I'm always open to some divination. You feel me? And one of the cards that came up mentioned worth. It was like being open to relationship. I forgot the specifics of it. But what she encouraged me to do was redefine the word worth for myself. Like, really examine what my definition of worth was, and to adjust it, because there are situations or experiences that are coming into my life that are going to test that are going to like interact with that I might, if I hadn't done this work, this personal practice, that might have caused me to question my worth, or have some what's the word, friction between myself and whoever this person is, romanticals, and being like, do you actually find yourself worthy? Do you like see your worth? Do you see your value? It would like create confusion within the relationship or the experience because of who I saw myself as, and it would just kind of bring up some conflict. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that because I believe that we're all messengers for each other to have a better experience, and especially the people that are open to being a vessel in that way, like Tina is. So I was like, okay, let me go do this. And I looked up the word worth, and I looked up different definitions, and what came forward for me, the definitions that I came to were: one, deserving of okay, no. Deserving of by one's qualities or by the esteem in which one is held. Like, they're worth it. To be important, number 2, to be important or interesting enough to receive a particular action. They're worth the time, they're worth the effort, they're worth it was worth going to see them because they're interesting enough, they're important enough, right? And the third one is producing enough advantages to make the necessary effort, risk, pain, etc. seem acceptable. So they were worth the tears, all those different like love songs. It was, you're worth the pain, baby. And I did it especially because I had been recently doing some mindset work around being in a relationship and allowing myself to feel supported and feel worthy of being supported. So the fact that she said that, I was actually literally the morning yesterday, I was thinking about that, and the night before. Just tapping into my paradigms and getting to the root of my beliefs about relationships and what those exchanges should be like. And I had a beautiful experience this morning. I made a 47-minute voice note because that's a part of my practice. I said a part of my practice is making voice memos, recordings of just allowing myself to speak freely, openly, vulnerably, whatever just comes from my subconscious. 47-minute voice note about what I saw as far as relationship in my childhood home, what I saw as far as relationship with other people's relationships as a young person, and what I experienced in my relationships as an adult and in high school. And I went through those 3 areas. And what really hit me, what really hit home for me was, okay, let me say it this way. I had to definitely do some unpacking about my worthiness of being supported and of being in a relationship where that support did not come from conditions of appeasing and placating. That I was worth somebody going out into the world to do whatever service that they desire to do, to contribute to the household, and me be there and have it not be like contentious and have tension and struggle and confrontation. I had to do some work around that, definitely. But what really, really registered for me was that there is someone out there who is worth me going through the risk of going through the challenges, of going through the effort. That there is someone out there who is deserving of what I have to put forward. My energy, my effort. That what I do is valuable enough to be like, somebody out there is worth that, because I was in a relationship where I put myself into a very precarious financial situation and just environmental situation. And I was hardened by that more than I thought. And I already was raised with this, I already picked up, let me proper my language. I already picked up this sense of fierce independence as a young person. I picked up this very intense sense of independence that I could meet all of my needs by myself, that I didn't need a partner, that I didn't need any help. And at the same time, my heart is like, I want companionship. I want to be held. I want to have soft conversations on the couch. I want to cuddle. I want to smooch. While at the same time, I'm like, I don't need nobody. That's conflicting. That is conflicting information. And if we are sending out, when we send out conflicting information to the universe, to God, to Source, it creates conflicting circumstances in our lives, because that's the energy that we're at. And I was so grateful for Tina. And I was so grateful for this practice of allowing myself to speak openly and vulnerably and express myself, because I was not doing that at a certain point in my life. I was not allowing myself on a regular basis just to use my words, to hear my own voice, to say what I was really feeling openly and rawly, even if it's just to a voice recorder. I was not allowed, I was suppressing so much of myself and my experiences. And this situation, this experience this morning really brought to light to me how important being consistent with those practices are, because I was able to really process, oh, I'm feeling jaded, I'm feeling guarded, but my heart is wanting to be open and loved. And that's contradictory, and I have to let one of those things go. And the thing that I want to let go is the guardedness, because I want the love. And I have to condition my mind and my body and my heart and my nervous system to understand that there is someone out there for me who will see my value, who will see that I contribute in my unique way. It's about equal, it's not about equal giving, it's about equal sacrifice. And the risk that I take to be a home caretaker, the choice that I make to be a loving person, to be a soft place in a relationship, is worth that person being in a relationship with me and caring for me and supporting me and, you know, helping to buy food and paying for vacations and putting gas in my car, fueling my car. I'm worth being taken care of, because there's someone out there who's worth my energy and my effort to be emotionally taken care of, to have their space clean and orderly and comforting, and a house full of love and laughter, because that's what I have to offer. I may not be the big breadwinner paying all the bills, but I don't have to be. Because in relationship, there is compensation. That was something else that I've been working with, the law of compensation, where there is a balance that naturally occurs when you give out of a certain value, or when you are built a certain way. There is a compensation that is being made in the universe for you to receive back what you need, what you require to be at balance. It's not about, what's that other word? I had it and it slipped away. It's about compensation. It's not about competition. It's not about, what's that word? Spirit, what is that word? I keep trying to think about it too hard. It's about compensation. I'll just leave it at that. Compromise, that's the word. It's not about compromising. It's about compensating. It's about creating balance. It's not about I'll do this if you do this, and I'll step back and you step forward. It's not about compromise. It's about compensating. It's about coming together. It's about collaborating. And I'm worth that. And there's someone in this world who is worth that from my side also. And I can release this shell, this stone from my heart, this guarding from my heart, this defense mechanism from my heart, from my nervous system, from my mind, from my paradigms. And really open up and invite in love that I want to invite in, because the person that the universe brings into my life, who I feel is that person, I think that was what the car was, like something like this is the person. Whoever the universe brings into my life, and I feel inspired that this is the person, they will be worth it. They will be worth the risk. They'll be worth the effort. They'll be worth the trial and error of communication and learning each other. And I don't have to keep holding on to those past experiences that I had from my childhood, from witnessing other people's relationships, or from being in my own relationships. Because I am in a new space. I have a new set of patterns and habits and information that I'm building through personal practice. It's a beautiful journey. This inner creator connection journey process, it hits all the layers. It hits all the layers: relationships, finances, work, education, family. It hits all the areas, because it's all coming from within us. And the more we can tap into that, the more powerfully we can create a life that we desire. So I have some questions for you. Well, I'll just ask one question, because we're about at the time. Why is it important to you that you replace the attachments you're releasing? As I've mentioned, we have these attachments to things outside of ourselves that are distracting us from our connection with our inner creator. And we can release those attachments. We can clean off the windshield. But why is it important that you don't slip back into those? Why is it important that you step into something new? For me, as I just mentioned, I want to be in a loving relationship. I desire that. I see that as part of my life. I wear this ring with this heart on it specifically to invite love into my life. To remind myself that I am in a relationship with someone. And that first person is myself. But there is also someone out there who is meant for me to love, who is deserving of my love and my effort. Now I understand that more and more clearly through my personal practice. So it's important that I release that attachment to being defensive, to being independent, to being jaded and being guarded, to protecting myself, to protecting my heart, protecting my mind, protecting my money. I have to release that. Because if I don't, then I'm going to enter my relationships. I'm going to enter whatever the universe brings to me with that shield up, with my fist up, like we fighting. This is a boxing match, and that's not the love that I want. That is not the relationship that I want. So that's why it's important for me to release that attachment to those protections and those defenses. What is it for you? And if you would like support with unpacking that, on taking this journey, reach out to me. You can go to anjulique.com/reachme. There is a Calendly link at the top. You can book your discovery call, 30 minutes. We can talk about it. Oftentimes in those discovery calls, people have breakthroughs and insights just in that time because, like I said, I made a 47-minute voice note and it really helped. So maybe you just need to have that one little taste. And maybe you find that you want to go through the whole process. Either one is really fine because I'm here to support people in like creating an authentic life without blame, shame, guilt, or unnecessary protections. I still have standards. I still have boundaries. But I don't have the same fierce defenses or unrealistic I don't want to say unrealistic, but like imaginary expectations, fantasizing expectations about what people are supposed to do or be or whatever. I can release those and still have my standards, still have my boundaries, still communicate my needs. And whoever is my person will be willing to communicate through that, will be willing to grow through that. And I will be able to trust that they are worth the work. Because I released those attachments. So again, reach out to me, anjulique.com/reachme, or you can DM me on here or on Instagram, on Facebook or Instagram, or message me email at anjuliqueart@gmail.com, and we can get going and talking about that. And I would look forward to connecting with you, really, truly. Powerful stuff, y'all. Powerful stuff. Next week, we're going to be talking about celebrating our conscious connection. You gotta celebrate. Celebration is so important, especially when you're on this journey, on this process, and this healing, because we can get so caught up in, I have to do this, I have to go, obligation. And we don't forget, it can be celebration. You're choosing to be on this journey. Yes, it's work, and yes, it's deep, and yes, it's challenging. And yes, it is necessary if you want to be in a certain place in your life. But that doesn't mean you can't celebrate yourself. In fact, it means that it's absolutely necessary that you celebrate yourself so you can continue to do it. Create that positive reinforcement. So next week we're going to be talking about celebrating our conscious connection. Because if you've gone through this, you definitely create a more conscious connection, and we're going to celebrate you. So the visual work for this session, I do not do the visual work in these online virtual sessions, but if you are doing a one-on-one with me, or if you're in a group, we will be doing these visual activities during our conversation so that you can really allow things to unfold subconsciously in a visual way. So the one for this one is My Soul is Sacred activity. Illustrate yourself as a plant rooted in soil. Then add to the soil what will nurture your growth. I developed this during a coaching session with Raymel Bentley, and it was called My Soil is Sacred, but I changed it to My Soul is Sacred because that is where we are planting our seeds, and how everything is growing out into the world, and how we can flourish beautiful flowers or keep growing weeds. So we're going to be illustrating that during this week, because again, we are strengthening the connection through personal practice, and we'll be able to illustrate what are the personal practices that would actually serve me. Is it yoga? Is it dance? Is it singing? Is it journaling? Is it audio notes? Is it painting? Is it walking out in nature? Is it getting some sun at the beach? Is it hugging a tree? Is it sitting and talking with a nice cup of cocoa and your good friend? Is it going to a faith-based service, community gathering? What is that for you? We'll explore that visually and through our conversation when you join the group or a one-on-one session. Again, you can book that discovery call on anjulique.com/reachme. But other than that, we got some self-work, and there are 3 here. Oh yeah, and mirror work is a great personal practice, so I'm going to give you this one. The self-work for this one of them is in the mirror, speak out loud saying, I am releasing the attachment and replacing it with the alignment, the personal practice. So I am releasing this attachment and I'm replacing it with personal practice. And do that a few times. I didn't put a specific amount of times, but I would say at least 3 times. Just look yourself straight in the eyes and say that out loud. Hear yourself. Audio notes. Hear yourself. See yourself saying that. Mirror work is so important. Oh my gosh. Can't believe I didn't mention it before then. But yeah. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your biggest takeaways were from this session. I look forward to joining you all next week. And if you're watching this on a replay, join me live on Monday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook, ADC Life Coaching page. And yeah, other than that, you're in the right place at the right time. And now it is up to you to decide to take accountability, to take the action that's going to create the life that you desire to live. I'm rooting for you. Have a beautiful, wonderful, spectacular, magical day. Because you deserve it, because you are worthy, because you can actually literally create it. I'll see y'all next week.